Good morning, everyone. If you are in the United States, good morning. Good morning. We are up bright and early. I wanted to get in a daily vibes reading at the start of the day here. I have a couple messages that I wanted to share with you guys, as well as a few downloads that I got last night that I wanted to also talk about and discuss with you guys. So this actually came up. If you don't know, I'm a professional psychic medium, intuitive reader, channeler, whatever. And during my day job, I am Cosmic Cassie, but I also do contract work. And so sometimes I will go to locations for extended amounts of time and do personal readings at that location. And one of the themes that I've noticed that has come up pretty significantly yesterday over and over, even with other readers that I work with in their own personal lives as well as in mine, there was a common theme. And so that's going to be part of the message today that I wanted to share with you guys. And it's all about your overall health. It's all about if you're going through those light activations, if you're going through those spiritual upgrades, the physical body upgrade where you're welcoming in more light into your body, that ascension, enlightenment process, the shift, whatever you want to name it. That's what this is going to be talking about, okay? But there's going to be additional messages that we pull out for you guys with the tarot, but that's going to be the main thing that I wanted to share that information. It is channeled information, specifically a couple things that I wrote down last night. So I don't remember what it is. I haven't reread it yet, but I remember writing it down. And I remember, channeling it, and so we'll see. I vaguely remember what I put down, but we'll see, okay? So let's start off with just some good messages to start the morning off with in the right way here. First out, we have 12, transform, and then we have 5, dance, and I want to get just one more here for you guys. And we have 38, honor the ending, okay? These are going to be themes that most likely overlap and coincide with what the messages that I've been guided to kind of share with you guys this morning and talk about, okay? Let's go ahead and read these. I want to read these to you. We have 12, 5, and 38. So the number 3 or 12 could be significant for some of you. You might see 1221. I just saw that in my mind. The number 5 could be significant. And then we have the number 11, also known as the number 2. But that is a master number there. So any of those can be significant to you guys at this time, which would indicate, if you resonate even heavier. So the first one we have out here is transform, just to show you some imagery on that one. And this, by the way, is Divine Nature deck. It's a very beautiful deck. The Greek word for soul is psyche, often depicted as a butterfly because of the soul's capacity for transformation. You aren't meant to live a life the tight, cramped quarters of the chrysalis. It is in rebirthing space between the life that no longer fits you and the new life awaiting you. This moment is urging you to surrender to the dark that will cause your rebirth. Let the ill-fitting, under-deserving, too tight beliefs, thoughts, and actions die off. They may have served the person you once were, but they do not serve the psyche as it wishes to be reborn in you now. Only by releasing what no longer serves you can you discover the new winged life waiting on the other side of the chrysalis. New wings await you, and they are glorious. Okay, so for me, this is a clear sign that we're resonating here. So if this is going to resonate for you and you're listening this morning, this is definitely a message for you if you were drawn here. First thing I want to share is it's interesting how Spirit will always bring it full circle for you sometimes and make sure that their point really hits home. This morning, I already dropped my girls off, and this morning my older daughter has a field trip to Butterfly Wonderland. And as you see, this is butterfly and transformation, and it signifies it signifies the butterfly, the transformation that it goes through, but it also mentions the chrysalis, and it mentions those stages and having to surrender to that darkness and release it so you can then come out of that chrysalis. So for me, I know that's hitting home with the butterfly reference there when it comes to transformation, but this is literally summed up into a single card there in a single reading. The kind of readings that I was having all day yesterday as well as last night, and then also the channeled messages that I was getting, and the information that I was sharing with other readers about perspective shifts and what you don't see, but in their own intuitive right, they were also coming into that same information where we were able to kind of come together and share it and realize, wow, we're getting the same kind of downloads, we're getting the same kind of information. A lot of times the people that I read work in a spiritual capacity. And so it's really interesting that people that work in, the spiritual world and realm, as light workers, as psychics, as mediums, as earth angels, Reiki even, it doesn't matter what capacity, but oftentimes that signifies a collective energy on its own that is separate from the actual collective energy. And oftentimes when I am doing readings, I will get a lot of spiritual workers that come in. And the reason being, it's always harder to read yourself. The gift is meant for others, not yourself. And so it's always more difficult to tap in and trust and hear and know clearly, this is where I'm being guided and this is what Spirit's saying. Sometimes that comes up when you're trying to make huge life movements. And it can get kind of noisy when you're tapping into everyone else's energy for them as well. So point being, this collective of spiritual workers that I will often give readings to, like personal readings, we will all, at the end of the reading, we'll kind of talk just as spiritual workers one-on-one and our experiences and things like that. And often, you will hear that they are getting the same intuitive guidance, the same download, the same message as you are. And it's because you guys are the first people that really get that message. You're the first barrier to it coming to the collective, and sometimes you're tasked with being the one to deliver that message to the collective who is not able to receive it or can't tap in or doesn't hear it clearly. And this has been an extremely common theme, I would say, the past month. And other spiritual workers are also experiencing the same thing, where we're really being asked to purge our physical world, our physical body, our physical environment. It's almost like there's already been the shift. There's already been a transformation when it comes to the mental, the emotional, the heart, the spiritual, the soul, the ethereal. All of that in our energies has already been transformed. And it's quite literally the only thing holding us back from expanding and being, and being into this transformed energy and now living in that light, that new transformed version of you and who you are that's been, accelerated, that's been heightened. The only thing preventing us from that is what I call, the devil of the 3D. The reason why I call it the devil of the 3D, because it's all those things that we lust after, that we passion for, that we desire, that we are addicted to. And it doesn't have to be these big crazy concepts. It's as simple as, and this is a huge one that someone else and I were talking about yesterday, because I struggle with it and I'm trying to get better with it, but it's the purging of the physical body. And that means not having a poor diet. So that can of soda that you crave so much every day, it's not having that. It's avoiding the chips. It's avoiding the junk food. It's eating clean. It's juicing. It's waking up in the morning, early in the morning with the sunrise, so you can prepare for your day. So you can get that energy from the sun while it's still fresh, it's pure, it's clean, it's just coming in. It's making sure your sleep habit and your sleep schedule actually suits you, and it helps you and it benefits you and it energizes you. It's making sure that you do daily rituals that are good and prosperous for your actual physical body, your physical health, things that are going to help you be energized, that are going to help you be more alert and clear and clean within your physical body. And so another reader was talking about how she's going on a bunch of different cleanses to fully detox and cleanse out her body, but different parts of her body, between like the mucus, the lungs, the gut health, and then even doing trying to get to the brain and cleansing that, the long-term brain cells that are stuck in our head carry more memory than any other piece of our body, because it doesn't regenerate, it doesn't decline and then rebirth in a way here. So it's like the common theme with that transformation, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're just having these bouts of depression and you don't understand why and you can't figure it out, if you're just feeling like, man, it feels heavy, there's so much heavy energy around me and I don't know why and I don't understand why, most of the time this is because there's a need to physically cleanse your space in your body. You've done the transformation and cleansing of the heart, the healing the traumas, the healing the generational things, the healing of the self-doubt and like coming into and growing and healing into that space. You usually have already done these things, especially in your heart. You will know that you've done them, you've put the work in. But you don't understand why your outward, your external world does not match all the inner work that you've now done. And it's because we also need to make sure we are cleansing that old energy out of and away from our physical body. So doing those cleanses are going to help that energy finally be released from you. You're holding on to that energy, that old you. You're still holding that into your physical memory, your physical body. So even if you're, top-notch health, but yet you feel this way, cleanse yourself. Do an external cleanse of the skin. People mention spiritual baths all the time, but also do some purging. Do a juice diet. Only eat greens. Do some water for 3 days only. Do intermediate fasting. A lot of us are getting calls and intuitive pulls to be healthier, to do better things with our body, to put better, healthier energy into our body, but we kind of ignore it, and it's because it's that desire of the 3D that we never realized we would have to fight against. It's how good things taste. It's the advertisements that are thrown in front of our faces that make us want foods that we weren't craving 2 seconds ago, and now we are. It's avoiding eating out at places that are quick, cheap, and easy, but extremely low energy and not good for your system or your body. It's doing the work now on the physical realm to take care of your body, to treat it, quote unquote, as a temple, right? That is the last kind of step, and sometimes the hardest step that we don't even realize is going to be difficult. It's that consistency, it's the dedication, it's the resilience, it's making sure that you're setting yourself up for success when it comes to your physical health, because the physical is where it all starts. We are living a human experience. We are in a human body. So we need to take care of this vessel that we hold, which allows us to elevate into those areas that we've already transformed ourselves in. Okay? So enough ranting on that one. Okay, the second one that I want to talk about is the dance. Okay, this is number 5. So this is going to indicate a lot of change, a lot of shifts, a lot of movement, but also learning how to embrace it. Now is the time to dance, not because this moment is easy or celebratory, but because your divine nature insists that you revel in who you are. And who you are is more glorious, more stunning, and more powerful than you can ever even imagine. So dance when you feel bountiful. Dance when you feel scarce. Dance for the truth that you are more than this circumstance, this situation. Dance your grief, your joy, your power. As Rumi said, dancing is not just getting up painlessly like a leaf blown on the wind. Dancing is when you tear your heart out and rise out of your body to hang suspended between the worlds. Your soul is the green that continually resurrects despite all circumstances. Dance for that truth, okay? This is going to be more of the message for those of you that are experiencing those bouts of depression, those mood swings. You're like, I can't understand why I'm stuck in this low energy. Why does my mind keep, barreling down on me and making me feel depressed and anxious and sad and lonely and all these like negative energies that I've done the work to heal myself from? I don't understand why I still feel this way. Why am I still experiencing these things are happening around me and inside of me? And a lot of times we have to see beyond that moment, because when we get stuck in that moment of how we feel and that we don't want to feel this way, we lose sight of where Spirit's trying to take us. We lose sight of that intuition and that guidance that naturally is coming to us kind of whispering to us how to get out of that moment, what we need to do. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and more frequent and more frequent and more frequent. The more that you ignore the intuition, the more that you continue to remain in a physical, low energy, whether that's your environment, whether that's the people that surround you, whether that's your physical health. The physical health has really been the biggest one. I feel like so many people have successfully cleansed and purged their energy that they give to people and the energy they receive from people. There's been a huge transformation in that. But then we get stuck on our own energy. How do we treat our own selves? We've finally put boundaries up so that other people can't put us in low energy, and yet we still put ourselves in that low energy. When you get lost in that feeling of being in low energy, you have to do something to get you out of it. You can't just sit and revel in it. You have to actually lift yourself out of it. And dancing is one of the best ways to get the energy moving and to break it apart so that it's easier to make it dissipate around you, okay? Dancing is one of those things, you feel it internally, it lifts you up, it gives you energy. And the higher that you're able to get that energy, the higher that vibration you're able to create for yourself, you get a window of opportunity to see the guidance that you're being given, the messages that are coming to you in the most clearest possible way. Yeah, you might sink back down after that, after you're done dancing, after you've calmed down, but at least you were able to get high enough where you could look through the window and see clearly what you need to do in order to move out of that energy and not keep falling back into it, okay? So there's a lot of appreciation to be had when it comes to even those short bursts of energy and high vibration that you're able to experience and give yourself, because those are the moments that are going to give you the most clarity on what to do for your situation. What's that last thing that needs to be purged? What's that last thing we need to be released from, okay? And it's not outwardly going to tell you, like junk food. I mean, my guides, I work specifically with a dragon, and as crazy as that seems, that's just what it is. And she specifically has scolded and gotten on me and been very direct, and dragon energy is very direct, and told me, look at what you're putting into your body. Look at the things that you're eating. Look at the habits that you've created around the energy that you expose your body to. And then you wonder why you feel this way. Then you wonder why you have a hard time moving to that next level, crossing that final bridge, experiencing the transformation in the life that waits you. You wonder why you have a hard time getting over there and why you haven't achieved that yet. Look at what you're doing in your physical body right now, the habits you've created, or lack thereof, I could even say, So, right, so it goes all into the same message, okay? Last one we have here is honor the ending, and this is 38. I have a feeling this is one about, appreciate who you were, appreciate the bad habits that you held because it brought you to where you're at today, but it's time to release it with appreciation and not with force, because especially when it comes to dieting and juicing and changing health habits and routines and picking up new habits, when you try to force that energy onto yourself and you don't even like it, it's like you feel like your own coach yelling at you and making you do something. Most times you don't stay consistent with that, and we lack the accountability to continue being disciplined in that area or in that way. Reason being, we have to look at it in a way that we actually are motivated. We're passionate in order to do this. And it's like, I just want to do it, and I feel encouraged, and I see what it's going to do. I see the end result, the consequences of me doing this or making this change. And we want to be inspired by that. We don't want to feel totally like abusing ourselves because how dare you eat that bag of chips? How dare you put that into your body? You're such a slob. You're such a waste. You need to get better. You need to get in shape. This is despicable. This is disgusting. It's like you don't want to bully yourself into doing that, because then you just create different habits that are just as bad, okay? Find the appreciation with where you were and release it with appreciation and gratitude. Man, thank you so much for letting me experience how amazing and tasting those chips were. Thank you so much for letting me experience soda in that capacity that I was able to experience it in. It tasted so good and it treated me so well in that moment, but now my soul craves something cleaner, something healthier, something that's going to support the light energy that's trying to fill my body, okay? Release it with gratitude and with gentleness to yourself, okay? The Japanese akira means to pierce, to begin, to end. The I have construction behind me, and then I have lawn workers, like lawn landscapers in front of me. So sorry for any extra noise that you guys hear. The Ankh, ancient symbol for the Egyptians, seems a perfect companion for this concept, as it was used as a sign of both beginnings and endings. Over and over, we are reminded that endings contain beginnings inside of them, and piercing of grief creates a sacred opening in our psyche where new life may pass through. We need to mourn our endings and give the heart the space to process loss, but be careful not to tread too closely to despair, for the ending carries new life inside it, and despair keeps us from seeing it clearly. Okay? So I hope that message was as clear to you guys as it was to me. When we put all those 3 messages together, they're all having the same common theme about learning how to embrace some kind of ending so that we can penetrate further and deeper and more spiritually into our psyche that allows the transformation of change to actually occur. So a lot of you work in the space and the capacity of being a light worker, of doing, different spiritual workings and being, healers and guides and, channelers and receiving the energy and the clarity and then trying to project it back onto the collective to uplift it. It's like you all work in your own capacity. Most likely, if you're watching this video, you were drawn to it because you're in this capacity, you've done the work, and you're impatient and you're trying to figure out, why is this happening to me? Why am I not lifting? Why am I not moving and shifting and growing in new ways? Why am I still experiencing these struggles and these hardships and these difficulties and these different situations internally and externally? And it's like, because there's one last piece that needs to be bridged and gapped for you, but you're not seeing it clearly because sometimes, again, with that ending, we might try to look for the deepest, darkest thing ever to figure out, maybe that needs to be healed. Maybe I didn't finish my healing work with that. Maybe I never released this. And sometimes it's the most simplest, tiniest thing in front of you that's actually keeping you back. And it could be your diet. It could be, the kind of foods and water that you put into your body, into your system. It could be your habit with how you sleep. It could be the times that you eat and how that affects your body. A lot of this has to do, a lot of this message, this download, this channeled information that I received significantly revolved around people not realizing that they're not completing the full shift because they're still stuck in this gunky 3D earth energy, and it's through their physical body. It's because of the physical body that you are still tethered and tied to where you've always been, and now it's time to purge and release that energy, okay? I want to read to you guys before I get into the tarot, which I actually don't even know if we need to get into the tarot now, and then again, begin anew on the bottom here, and it's a butterfly. Oh, and you know what? I don't think I showed you guys all of these cards here, so let me do that. So that, again, that first one was the transform card, okay? That's number 12. The second one here was the dance card, number 5. And the third one here was the honor the ending card, number 38. So in case some of the being able to see the visuals resonate for you somehow, some way, it's good to have it. So I want to read to you guys the channeled message that I got, and it really inspired me and helped me figure out. I know for me personally, I understand why the message came through for me, because I was getting this exact same message that I'm giving you guys. I was getting the exact same message because, again, I am not the best, and I do not hold myself as accountable as I should when it comes to my diet and the things I eat. And, when I get a sweet tooth, it's game over. And so it's learning how to change my diet so that I don't even crave the sugar anymore. It's extracting it and purging it from my body and my system so that the craving isn't even there anymore. So I get why I got the message, but I want to read to you guys the channeled message they gave me, and then I literally passed out, so I didn't even get a chance to fully comprehend and understand it. So this is the channeled message that I got, and I'll kind of tell you the dialogue that happened to pull this out, okay? So what they told me immediately was like, because I wanted to draw something, because a lot of times I will get images, and you know, I'll make separate videos about those. I don't think it's time for me to quite talk about those or to show those yet, but I'll get images and it'll explain very in-depth and complex, you know, cosmic laws and universal things, and old systems of how we believe certain systems work. But it's like the systems also shift as the collective shifts. The systems also shift in how they work, because we're no longer in that capacity. And so I'll get information, but in the visuals, and I'll draw them. And I tried to do that last night before I went to bed, because I felt like there was something that needed to come out. I just wasn't sure what it was. And instead what they told me is like, no, this is going to be verbiage. This is going to be something you write. Okay, this is written. And then that's when I heard, you know, the human body is not meant to withstand heavy exposure to, bear with me, I haven't looked at this since I wrote it, and I wrote it at night in the dark. Heavy exposure to toxins and debris. And then that's when I asked, what do you identify as toxins? Toxins are what you breathe, eat, and sleep. And I said, well, what do you identify as debris? Debris are what you get trapped in your neural pathways, which block your energy and spiritual essence, okay? And the reason why I asked for what do they identify as toxins and debris is because one thing I've noticed is that when I'm channeling messages, or I'm contacting and speaking and sharing my energy with higher beings and higher vibrational energies and entities and things like this, oftentimes they have a different definition than what we might assume that definition to be. And so it's really important to clarify certain things that they say, so that you can understand why they coin it with that term, that word, that sentence, that name, whatever it is here, okay? So again, what I heard is toxins are what you breathe, eat, and sleep. Debris are what get trapped in your neural pathways, which block your energy and your spiritual essence. So my interpretation of this is the toxins are the physical things. Toxins are the things that we expose ourselves to on a daily basis. And they're saying that the human body was not meant to withstand heavy exposure to these toxins. But these are the things that you ingest, the things that you eat. These are, you know, the air that you breathe. These are, you know, how polluted is it? Toxins to them seems to be, you know, even you know, the material items that you surround yourself with, your clothes, you know, it's anything that you end up breathing, eating, or sleeping. And when I say sleeping, that could be quite literally your sleep cycle, your sleep habits, your sleep patterns. You know, are you going to sleep in the morning and waking up at night? Are you sleeping extended amount of time? Are you sleeping a limited amount of time? It's almost like they coin that as a physical thing that actually happens. And I think it's because sleep by itself generates and affects so much of your energy, especially when you're dreaming and you're remembering those dreams and you're getting your messages and your signs, your guidance through that, you're getting warnings through that. It's like, that's like you're reliving your entire reality in a single moment of the dream state, and you're also receiving different energies and connecting to different energies in different dimensions and realms and things like this. So it's almost like, to them, dreaming, or I say to the things around sleep, are physical things that do affect you. It's a physical toxin that you can actually create through sleeping. Your sleep habits, schedule, where you sleep, how you sleep, do you eat right before you sleep, different things like that, how it affects that energy. And then debris are what gets trapped in your neural pathways, which block your energy and spiritual essence. Now, I am not by any means a neuroscientist, okay? I don't understand completely what neural pathways are. I did a presentation on memory, which included me, you know, researching, learning, and then relaying information in a very simple way to understand neural pathways and how they affect memory. And that's almost probably the most that I've like jumped into neural pathways here. But from my understanding, what this is trying to let us know is that The debris are things that, um, debris are those things that are more spiritual, what we would call spiritual. So it's your memories, it's the trauma that you hold, it's your blueprint, your habits, it's the things that are not physical, but those are the things, because the neural pathways are what creates those habits, are what creates those beliefs, are what creates those emotions, are what creates triggers. They're the ones that create fear. They're the ones that, feed into the ego. It's like the neural pathways are the different connections that we create and make. It's the roadmap, the blueprint that we formulate in our mind. So everyone's neural pathways are going to look very unique and very personal to who that person is and what their experiences have been and how they've processed those experiences. Has it created trauma and fear and habits and patterns and things like this? Or have we learned how to heal and to access that and heal it, where we begin to create new neural pathways that are about, optimism, that release any fear or lack mindset and mentality around money, that, release, any thoughts or feelings of insecurity or not being confident or having worth. It's like you formulate those neural pathways, but you do them based on your experiences and how you understand that experience was, why it happened, what will happen moving forward, things like this. And when it says they block your energy and spiritual essence, that to me is a signifier of all that healing that is constantly being talked about that needs to be done in order to lighten the body, in order to allow the collective to shift consciously into a completely different energy. The shift occurs through these neural pathways and how we form them, whether we form them with lower energy or whether we form them with higher energy, higher vibrational energy, okay? It's all about how you connect your neural pathways, and that creates the belief, the perceptions, the habits, the conditioning that you have for yourself. And so it's what it's saying here is when you have poor neural pathways, when you have debris, those things that we aren't physical, those memories, those beliefs, those ideas, those fears, that's the debris. It's what we call that spiritual stuff, That's what they refer to as debris. When that debris infiltrates your neural pathways and changes them to have more negative or, I would say more, we'll go with negative because that's the best word I can think of right now. But when it influences those neural pathways to act in a negative, non-productive way for you, then it begins to block your energy and your spiritual essence, because then you're riddled with these poor negative habits, these poor negative thoughts, these poor negative fears, these things that hold you back, these challenges, these blocks. The neural pathways are, again, what they consider debris that traps, all of those things in there and then creates the neural pathways to not work in your favor or in your advantage. And then the second piece that I wrote down, because what I asked after I got that message, I interpret most of it right now, right here in this moment, because when I'm channeling, the understanding comes very quickly and easily to me. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to put it together. It's just there. I get it. It's like I'm sharing one mind with someone. But later on, if I don't write it down, I'll usually forget it. But later on, when I reread it, in my own mind, I have to then begin to conceptualize and understand and break it down in a way that I can understand and like re-understand what it meant. So after receiving that, I then asked, if you are riddled with toxins, if you are riddled with debris, what are some of the best ways that you can cleanse that energy or those toxins more specifically out of your system? Because I already understood debris was more of that hard shadow work energy, the trauma healing, the generational breaking. That's that work, okay? We've gotten one half of the equation. We figured that piece out, how to do it. The second half is now addressing the toxins, the more physical things, the things you breathe, eat, and sleep. So I'm asking, how do we cleanse that? How do we even begin to cleanse that? And this is what I got. Cleansing means to flush the system with water, acidic liquid, and fresh air. And then I asked, how long would you be on a regimen that consists of those three things? And they said, this takes 3 weeks. They're pretty short, sweet, to the point, which I like. So then I asked, okay, how often should we be doing this? And they said, this should take place once every 7 months. Okay? And then I kind of backtracked a little bit, because then I started thinking more about what they said. They said water, acidic liquid, and fresh air. I understood water. I know what water is. I know what the potential is, and they already said it that flushes the system. But I asked, why acidic liquid? What's the benefit of that? Because there's certain information that I remember coming across and hearing from doctors and other places saying, it's not good to have a highly acidic diet. That's why we always want to be alkaline, because if you're not alkaline, then you have things like indigestion, and you have like all these terrible things that happen in your body if you have too much acidic. So stay away from these foods because they're highly acidic, and they'll interrupt your system, they'll bother your system. And so to me, I was kind of curious, because I'm like, I thought a highly acidic diet was actually bad. Even if it's short term, 3 weeks, I still thought it was bad. So I asked them specifically, what does the acidic liquid does? What's the purpose of this? And what they said is acid burns debris and water clears toxins. Air renews. Okay? So I want to repeat that. Acid burns debris and water clears toxins. The air renews. So from my understanding, the acid, even though I was asking more about, cleansing the body from toxins, I did ask, how do we cleanse in general, but I was trying to focus more on toxins. What they're saying is the acid burns debris. And debris, if you remember, debris are those things that get trapped in the neural pathways that block energy and spiritual essence. And so it's almost like, and again, I haven't done too much research on this. I just channeled this message last night, so I'll definitely be looking into it a little bit more to see if I can get a better understanding and like if there's science to this. Usually when you get a spiritual message or channeled message, you can find science that actually backs up what you're talking about. Sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can. But from my understanding from this, acid burns the debris, which means acid actually almost like permanently sizzles out the neural pathways. So as we do that healing work and we break the generational traumas and curses and our own traumas, and we heal the inner child, when those neural pathways, when we're trying to restruct them and change them and move them and create a new blueprint from all this healing and work and shadow work that we're doing, from my understanding, it's almost like the acid goes in and kind of burns away any of the remaining debris, the remaining neural pathways that are weakening, because neural pathways don't completely disappear, they actually just weaken. You have neural pathways that you build and create like a bridge by crossing that connection over and over and over and over, and that makes that neural pathway extremely strong. So it's going to be the first neural pathway to react when the stimulus hits it. So for instance, if it's working out, the more that you work out, the more that you build a neural pathway that creates a habit for you to work out. So if I'm in bed and usually I work out at this time, that's the neural pathway that's going to be responding and going to be sticking up first, is like, hey, poking you, hey, don't you feel like working out? Don't you want to go work out? Don't you want to go to the gym? Because I've created a habit consistently with that neural pathway that tells me, okay, I want to go work out at the gym. I want to go there. The old neural pathway, before I worked out and had a habit, that does not just disappear. From what science and from my understanding of science, it just weakens. So it's no longer the first one responding. It just gets put to the back of the line, essentially. But from my understanding with this, an acidic liquid, doing that cleanse, having like a highly acidic liquid and drinking that for 3 weeks, it goes in and actually removes it for you, okay? Scientifically, I'm sure they'll say that's impossible. but this is just my understanding of what I channeled. Instead of it just remaining in the background and holding space, it actually comes in and burns those weakened bridges. It burns them away, which creates more room for new neural pathways to occur, for new, I think it's called like transmitters and connections and stimulus to then grow and be created in space of that. So instead of just having a full closet, it's like, let me literally dissolve anything that you don't need, that you've already determined is not for you. Let me go ahead and just throw that out to clear this closet out. And sometimes within the body, the biological system, we need to clear some of that debris out, not to replace it with more like physical matter, biological matter, but that's where the light comes in. That is where the light activation occurs, because now we hold empty space for light to fill, not necessarily more biological or physical matter to fill, okay? And then it says, so going back here, excuse me, acid burns debris, and water clears toxins. So those toxins, those more physical things, the what you breathe, eat, and sleep, it's like, which, that's no surprise there. I think we all could have guessed that one. But water has the ability and power to completely flush and clear the system of those toxins. But it's almost like for 3 weeks, you have to be consistent with being on a diet that consists of water and highly acidic liquids, okay? So that's like your, fruits and vegetables that are making a juice out of high acid fruits and veggies. And then the last one is air renews. This one I thought was very interesting because I didn't expect it, first of all, but my understanding of air renews. Air, they're saying, is a part of this equation because it's important, and I kind of remember the download and channel, because it's almost like I channeled it and it kind of gave me a download at the same time. What I understood with air in the download that I got, once every 7 months for 3 weeks, we should be removing ourselves from our day-to-day lives, unless you already live every day in this way, lucky you. But we need to be removing ourselves out of our hectic, crazy lives. If you live in the city, get out of the city for 3 weeks every 7 months, twice a year. Get out of the city and go camping in the country land, or go travel somewhere with fresh new air. It wasn't just the air, the oxygen you breathe, but it's almost like the air as in the energy, the energetic air that is around you every single day. Your workplace, your friends, your family, your home in general, your pets, your responsibilities, everything that is energetically around you. It's being able to get yourself out of that energy into fresh, clear, clean energy that you have not put things into, that is completely new and fresh and clean and clear. Doing that once every 7 months for 3 weeks while you're on your water and your acidic liquid cleanse here. So in layman terms, it's taking a vacation, a break for yourself every 7 months for 3 weeks. Yes, I understand how, depending on where you live, I'm in America, and so I get it. Like, we don't usually get PTO to have that kind of luxury where every 7 months we could take 3 weeks off. Some of us do and some of us don't. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty of how your life aligns with this and does not align with it. I'm just sharing the channeled information that I received when it comes to trying to cleanse and remove your physical body of these toxins and debris. And this is what they're saying. 3 weeks every 7 months, get away, go somewhere with clean, fresh, new energy, take a break, and on that break, drink water and acidic liquids. Okay, again, juices. This could be a juice blend. And it quite literally renews and clears the system. Okay? So, that is the message that I wanted to share. That kind of is my closing message, honestly. I don't think we'll be jumping into tarot. I don't think there was a need to really jump into tarot. If you're here and that resonated, more than likely you're on that spiritual path. You're feeling gunky, you're feeling heavy, you're feeling held down, and you're not understanding why exactly. So hopefully this gives you some clarity and understanding on why that is. If you guys want a personal reading on anything, you definitely can check out my personal website, Cosmic Cassie, and get a reading there. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll end up being back with more messages about like channeled things and information. I would love to share the visuals that they gave me that I ended up drawing out. But I think I need to wait for the right time for that. Okay, certain things need to take place first before I share those, but they are in the works. They are there. Please let me know if you have any questions, or if anything you want to talk and clarify and share your experiences, especially if you're on this spiritual road with me. I'm sure that you've gotten some of these intuitive downloads and messages yourself, and maybe a different perspective, but same thing, right? So go ahead and leave those in the comments and share them for anyone. It's always good to hear the same message in many ways. That way it reaches everyone as much as it can. But guys, if this resonated and you enjoyed it, do hit that like button and subscribe for future videos. That way you guys can come in and kind of watch any other videos that I make in this way. Okay, have a great one. Bye.